All right, it's 9 o'clock. Give me a second to mute my computer. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe it's my turn to have the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 2 on the agenda is call for public comment. Can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, number 2 on the agenda is call for public comment. So comment can be submitted in person or by phone at these 2 numbers, 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. Are there any conflict of interest items for any of the commissioners today?
Nope.
No. For me? Okay, and then I'd entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
So motion by Van Duzen,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Any additions, changes? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Number 5, action to approve the June 27.
So
That's motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is a tax deed auction, which I believe, do we need to do that in, can we do that in here? Or do we need
Yes,
to-
we can do it up here.
Okay,
If that's what your wishes are. Okay, so I'll do a little explaining. Troy is our auctioneer. I don't know if we need to look downstairs though and see if anyone is waiting. Are the individuals who are here, that were in the hallway, are they present? Okay. Okay, so one thing is, once the auction is done, there will be also the recording fees of $30 plus, and we have a transfer fee of, so it's $1 per thousand or anything $500 or less is 50 cents, or if it's over 500 goes to the next dollar. So that we can talk about after the meeting, but there will be recording fees additional to what the bid is. Okay, so then after that's done on next week's agenda, then we will do approval of the resolution and the quit claim deed. So, and also then we would also want it recorded how you want it listed on the deed. So whoever the successful bidder is will get all that information once the sale is done. So that's all that I have. I guess if Troy wants to.
We have a description of the property, legal description, or do we need to? You have it? Okay,
We had that.
all right.
1 second. Well, if you could spare it. Please spare it.
Wait, is that done? Okay, so the legal description of this property, Watertown City Rice Brothers Edition, lot 33, block 10. And I guess we'll start the opening bid at $2,040.21.
You want to explain why that's opening bid? Just, that's what the county costs are.
Okay, so that's what the county costs are currently.
She asked me this and Carol said that the delinquent taxes were $1,392.73. And then the cost that we have incurred so far is $647.48. So that additional cost is
Publications and those sorts of costs that were related to that. Yep.
And that's incorporated in that that amount.
Yeah, so that would bring that cost to $2,040.21. Okay. So do we have an opening bid? Again, that's $2,040.21. Yes? Okay, all right, we have the opening bid. That amount. Is there a second? Anybody want to up that bid? $2,040.21. Once again, would anybody like to up that bid? If not, going once, going twice. All right, we'll close the auction. $2,040.21. And ma'am, what is your name? What is your name, ma'am? Okay,
Purification strips.
all right, purification strickers, all right.
Okay.
And if you could see the auditor at the end of the meeting.
So you guys will go to the treasurer and pay her for this. I will give you this sheet of paper to take with you.
Yep, it's right there.
So you ready?
I will one second you here, but we want the information on how she wants it to be listed. So fill that out with your phone number and then after the amount. Okay. Yes, go down to the treasurer and that will look good. Okay, all right. There you go. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, number 7, we have 3 plat resolutions to approve. Luke Mueller, our trustee zoning officer is here too.
Good morning, commissioners. It looks like we have. The plat of shoe card first edition first on that list. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Honestly, it's probably the one with a little bit of explanation. This is a plat. It's in Lake Township. It's in shoe card first edition, northwest quarter, section 1, township 117, range 53. If you don't have your sections, townships, and range memorized, that is Lake Township. Straight north on Sioux Conifer Road. This one is on the east side of Sioux Conifer Road. About 3 miles north of Highway 20. All they're doing is they are splitting. They're splitting the remaining portion of an 80 into 2 lots that are long, half a mile long. And so they're 2 35-acre lots. The planning commission recommended approval following a variance to the minimum lot width, which allowed for the creation of those. The requirement is, so with the recording of this, we'll have to have a letter of assurance by the current owner as well, just pointing out that, again, we've got our quarter rule. And just so that anyone who buys it in the future understands that they don't get to have one on this side of the 35-acre piece and that side. They understand that they only get one on each lot. So lot 1 gets 1 house, lot 2 gets 1 house. So that's all that is. And again, planning commission recommended approval.
Take these separate.
So, okay, this would be for resolution 2023-13.
Okay, so a motion by Johnson, and I think, did I hear a second?
I'll second it.
So second by Schmidt. Just a quick, so, and this would have to go, is this in the joint jurisdiction zone?
This one is not.
Just outside of it. Okay.
Yeah, this one is not.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. And next one.
Next one is shoe card second, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so the next plat is the plat of shoe card second edition, aptly named the second edition because it's in section 2 of that same township, Lake Township. Let's see, straight north of town again, and this is a half a mile closer to Highway 20 than the previous one. This is they're platting a 40-acre parcel. Dotted line on the screen kind of loosely indicates about where it is. They're platting a 40-acre piece, kind of a what's left of this portion to keep 40 acres, again, a buildable right around some other previously platted parts. Again, planning commission recommended approval because frankly, it met all of the rules that we have.
Motion to approve.
2023-14.
Motion by Van Dusen.
Second.
Second by Johnson.
One thing I will, before, in the middle of discussion here, I'll catch you before you vote. Just for reference, I know a couple of those had surrounding them had, or near them had small lots with houses on them. Those are in the rural residential district. They're lots that were platted or sold off prior to the 35-acre rule, and or kind of in between there where there was a little bit of confusion as to how to enforce it, we'll say. So the bottom line is those are yellow blotches on your zoning map that indicate that that's rural residential. So that's why you look up and say, well, wait, there's houses there. That's why they're zoned differently.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion carries. Next one is Peterson edition, which is resolution 2023-15.
All right, this is a plat of, as was noted, Peterson edition in the southwest quarter, section 32, 11952 in Fuller Township. This is straight east of Still Lake, north on just off of County Road 17, as you head north from Highway 20. This plat is what amounts to basically a replat of what was known as O'Toole edition. Farmstead exemption was granted to this property back around the first of the year, and they're just finishing off their obligation to plat this property. They've created 1 5-acre lot, one which is, I just wanted to make sure, sorry, one lot is 9 acres, one lot is 44 acres, both of which access 162nd Street, which is a township road. Lot 1 follows the reservation boundary along its western edge. And those are all the details. Pretty.
Move to approve.
Moved by Johnson,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion?
So there is access to this off of the township road, you said?
It is, yep, it's right where the township road curves to the south to catch up to the correction line with the reservation boundary. Yeah, you can see it on the screen there too. It's right where it curves to the south there. So, yep, it does. We'll leave that up to the township as to where they'd prefer to have access coming off of that. I'm presuming they're going to suggest some form of, perhaps some form coming straight from there. If I were the person living there, I'm not so sure I'd love that. I definitely want to curve into there. Otherwise, I'm going to have random folks wanting to park in my garage. So
That lot 2, that 44 acres, does that include that sloughie area?
it does. Most of it is that sloughie area, to be honest, other than just the farm site itself.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
I'm well familiar with it.
Yeah, I knew it's in your backyard there and that real close to you. So yes, the truth is a lot of that is in floodplain or at the very least, it's pretty marshy up there. Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Okay,
Thank you, commissioners.
thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
And next up, we got our highway superintendent to tell us all about action to approve notice was number 8 on the agenda, action to approve a notice to bidders for asphalt mat construction.
Good morning. This
Morning.
is a budgeted item for County Road 23. It was a spot we built up a couple of years ago and there's no asphalt on it currently. And we need to put asphalt on it to make it a nice smooth road through there.
Move to approve.
So motion by Johnson.
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. It's pretty standard specs and everything on the bid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the specs that we use most of the time
Okay.
for the asphalt that we have. This is on County Road 23-4, which would be 442nd Avenue, just north of 167th Street, which would be County Road 81, just a quarter mile north of that. So
Okay.
there's water on both sides of the road that we built up. It's riprap, all
Okay.
that stuff. So just needs asphalt on it.
Right.
How was it this spring? Was it pretty good?
It was good. It was really good. Yep, best part of the whole road.
Any other questions?
You may want to mention, we'll be opening those bids Tuesday morning, July 25th.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
So Tuesday morning, July 25th for people who want to bid. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
There's no, that motion carries.
And just for the public, we are chip sealing south of South Shore today, which would be 440 or 464th Avenue, which would be County Road 3, straight south of South Shore. So avoid that with your motorcycles.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Yep, thank you.
All right, next up, monthly reports and we have the community health nurse.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Commissioners. You want me to start with my report or the budget, or doesn't it matter?
Oh, we start with your report. then
Report,
we'll
okay.
to the-
All right, you all should have got both of my reports, both the numbered and the written report. We started completing our services virtually through the platform called DoxyMe that I know that I had talked about last time. We've done a couple appointments on there, which is nice for our clients. We have heard good feedback from our clients that have been able to utilize this platform. All staff, including our clerical, went to Brookings about a month ago now. I think it was the 15th. And we had a teaching on a lady from Call to Freedom, and she talked to us about human trafficking, which was a very eye-opening. Yeah, very, very eye-opening. So we got some training on that and some like education on questions, some things to watch for, some things that we can kind of talk with our clients on and things like that, along with some good referrals and things. Immunizations, our rates are slowly climbing up, as you can see on the numbered doses. April, we gave a total of about 26. May, we gave a total of about 57. And then in June, we were up to 68. So I know the schools start sending out reminder letters to their kindergarten and 6th grade students starting in like July and August. So we're expecting to see an increase of that. So we've been ordering a little bit heavy for that. Our caseload continues to be about the same for WIC, average of about 507, which was only down from an average from 9 from March or January to March. So things are staying pretty steady there. All of our waivers that were in place for the formula shortage have now expired. So we're just back to our normal formula that the clients have always been able to purchase. We contracted with the same 5 schools that we did last year for the upcoming 2023 and 24 school year. That includes St. Martin's, Great Plains, Waverly, South Shore, Henry, and Florence. We plan to start those in September. Kai and I both went to the kid camp babysitting class in June. And we did nutrition for youngsters. So we talked about nutrition and serving sizes, choking hazards, knife safety. And then we are also partnering with Independent Living Choices. We have our dietitian that's going tomorrow to talk about dietitian and nutrition education. And then I am going next Wednesday to talk about hygiene. So
To talk about what?
hygiene.
Oh, hygiene. I
Yep.
thought you said hiking.
Hygiene.
How did that fit in?
Yeah.
there?
Yeah,
Well, it's good.
exercise and shower.
And exercise good hygiene when hiking.
That's right. They do go hand in hand. Yes. Any questions on reports?
Thank you.
Nothing. Awesome. Budget wise, as far as like staff wages and insurance, I just used the sheet that was sent out. I did increase both the money for the nurse repairs and maintenance and the county nurse supplies. Last year, I believe we had an 800 for nurse supplies. I upped that to 1,000, and repairs and maintenance were at 500. I upped that to 800. We have some toys in our office that are definitely have seen better days. It's very hard to clean them. They're just basically all sticky. The protectant sealant is kind of coming off of those. So we've been looking into some pricing and quoting. And then also with the increase of our school services and being able to provide like puberty and hygiene kits, with more schools wanting that, we normally provide a little kit that comes along with that, with like some deodorants and hand soaps and hand sanitizers, toothbrushes and things like that. So with an increase of kids there, I know last year we kind of spent through the most of our budget because of that. So those were the 2 increases for
So
that.
those kits are just things schools ask for if they need them.
Yeah. So we normally provide just like a little kit that comes around with, so I normally get like a count from the schools before we go. And then I provide we do hygiene for like 4th, sixth, seventh and eighth, and then we do puberty for fifth graders. So,
Is that's like 426, right?
yes, yep.
Lee, we show the other commissioners, you do have a binder down beside your desk that has all the budgets in it and there's tabs. So you can pull them up and look as they go through that as well.
It's on the screen too. if you want.
Yeah, we're good.
That's the right page, right?
Yes. Otherwise, I just use the sheets that were sent out for figuring out all health insurances and increases and things like that. So,
Yeah, the budget worksheet.
Yep.
Yep, they get sent out.
So actually, it's saying a decrease from last year though. Overall.
so budgeted last year, I had
Oh, for 20, compared to 2023. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the bottom total.
yes.
Okay.
Because up in the top of the salaries that went down some, I suppose you have a new employee.
Yes, because we had it with
Yes.
Jeannie retiring and
Yep.
Karen starting. Yep. So there is a decrease with some of that part of it. Yep.
Any questions for our county nurse?
Thank you.
No, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good rundown.
Yes, thank you.
Morning, Todd.
Good morning, commissioners.
You can read it later. Right, and congratulations and thank you when you read it.
Oh, great. Currently, metrics here out of the Veteran Service Office, we got 152 open claims. We have 80 of those claims that are pending action by the VA. We've already completed 155 claims year to date. Currently working on 27 claims and 19 have been completed for veterans outside of our community, outside of our county, should I say. Increase for May in monthly compensation to veterans and dependents was $16,095. Year to date, that's $67,364. That's the monthly increase. Retro payment, $55,118. Year to date retro payments, $451,567. One veteran transported to Sioux Falls in June. Currently 5 scheduled for July. City auditorium update. Still trying to figure out the AC on the other side. We had one of the city councilmen in the office here a couple weeks ago before he left office asking about the handicap accessible area. And we also mentioned the AC. So I hopefully they're working. I've sent a couple of messages, but I think I might try to run some of that back through Steve Mullengrath on the county side to work with them a little bit. Other than that, future, we submitted a travel request. We have the state VSO training that was usually in Pierre has been moved to Sioux Falls. That's 5 through 7 September. I submitted them. Big thing coming to us is that they're going to upgrade VetraSpec. That's probably going to get some training when we go down there in September. That's the software package that our office uses to submit claims into the VA. Commanders of the Codington County Veterans Organization, I meet with them once a month and I meet with them tonight. They are asking, we've had discussion about maybe establishing a time capsule in the community. Maybe possibly here, or they wanted me to ask if you guys would entertain that idea. Or possibly, we're just kind of really just kind of get an idea that if you guys would even entertain that. I know down in Moody County where I grew up, they have one established there. I was the one that kind of brought the idea if we would want to do something like that. Each entity might put their own, get like a PVC tube, you know, to put whatever they wanted to put from their organization or directing their organization in there, leave it there, have it opened up in 10 years or something like that. Well, 10, 100, I mean, if we, again, when we look at the Vietnam era veterans, 10 to 15 years, again, that gets to, so I think you could maybe open it up, see what's in there, maybe, again, we're just trying to get an idea if you guys, if the commission would entertain, we're not asking, but just kind of maybe a east-west or a north-south that you possibly would entertain or not entertain, we could look someplace else.
So where do you put something like
Yeah,
that?
where would that go?
It would more than likely go off the corner. I mean, someplace out like where we have the other monuments, take up another, again, the one, I just used the one in Flanders for an example. It's probably, 24 by 24 by maybe 24 high. And it's all brick and it's got a top cover with a little flat bronze on it, takes up, and then there's a little space, maybe a 2 to 3 foot walk around from that standpoint. So it would be just something like that. It wouldn't be any different than basically having a tree to mow around or anything from that standpoint.
So from a county perspective, we just have to get permission to use.
Yep, they would all be, the costs and everything would come from the veterans organizations and stuff of that nature, so.
Sit above ground, not like.
Nope, they sit above ground, so people, and we might be able to pull it off to someplace, I don't know.
An action that we have to take or just,
Well, it's not on the agenda right now, but he's just kind of feeling us out.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
looking
that's
for maybe,
I don't know why we wouldn't.
yep,
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
that's a start, that's what we needed.
Yeah.
No questions on any of that stuff there, I can go into my budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, my fault on the 2023 budget, when I started looking at that, I noticed it as soon as I in January, I was like, oh, okay, something's not quite right. So then when we got the other budget, I did a little more diving back into it. So my fault on that for the 2023, I'm gonna have a shortfall in my budget there. If I use everything that I have for all my operational costs and everything, I'm gonna have about a $13,000 shortfall. Basically that was on the 5.5% COLA in the July 23 2.5% step increase was not figured into my budget.
Right.
So on a caveat to that, I got in there, we did in the last 3 years, we had turned back 23K back to the general fund. So from that standpoint, so that makes my budget look a little more inflated for 2024 because I had to make up for that. Right there, the overall 2024 budget basic increase, if I have to use that 13,000, would be about a 9.3% increase. If you were to take that adjustment out, it would be about 2.7, which would be in line with what our pay raise stipend would be. So with that being said, I have an increase in the wages. That's where that shortfall is. That's where you'll see the bigger increase for 2024. Basically the down below for my operational cost is right in line at the 2.6% increase there for that. If you have any questions.
So your other, current expenditures, that part of it
Is about the same as,
Just the personnel.
just the personnel, that
Yeah.
my mistake there on that.
Okay, thank you.
Good to me. Thanks.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks.
Oh, before Todd takes off, you notice I handed him an envelope and that was stuck in the door this morning and I won't embarrass Todd and read it. I just gave it to him. It's just one of his clients just I worships the ground that Todd walks on. I'll just put it that way. He can't do any wrong and worked with this client for about 1.5 years and finally completed the task. And he just was so impressed with Todd's work and sticking with it and his enthusiasm and his knowledge of what he does. So
Great. Good job.
Natalie, that's my evaluation on Todd. It's verbal. I don't have to fill any evaluation. Yeah, you gotta type it up, but he can't do no wrong. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you,
thanks,
Todd,
Todd.
for all your work.
Okay, next up, we have extensions.
Right, and Jody, is busy this month with all 4-H activities. Becky will do the budget. She has a written report.
I
for
see.
you,
Okay,
So
Morning, Becky.
Becky will take care of the budget part.
Finish up for Jody. I guess here is the Achievement Day schedule that's coming up, July 31st through August 3rd. So here's the schedule for all of you. If you'd like to come on out, see what the kids have done, what they've been working on.
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
I'll be out there judging, so pass it on to Jody that if I didn't return my card or whatever.
And did you, Jody's at Special Food. She's having her Special Foods contest today. So that's where she is today. And then next Tuesday and the following Tuesday is Camp Chance. So that's why you got a written report this week.
Good.
State fair is just around the corner.
It is, isn't it?
Let's
Wow.
get past the achievement dates first, please. Okay. The budget, same as Todd, you'll see probably an increase most of all in the wages because of last year's increases that we had. So you'll see an increase there. I estimated, I think along with everyone else, a 3% COLA and then the step increases next year. The other thing that you'll see an increase in is the health insurance. We estimated a 10% increase in that health insurance. I think that's pretty standard across the board for all departments. A little decrease in a couple of spots that we're not using as much. Otherwise, I think everything else is pretty much in line with last year.
What,
Not really many changes.
I want to make sure I'm looking at the right page here. But I'm looking at one.
What?
I'm looking at fund for, yeah, extension wages on 611. Yeah, I got it right. Yeah. Okay.
You got the right one, okay. Other than that, everything stays about the same. 4-H advisor, that went up 3% per SDSU's request.
And then what's the extension? That must be a building thing. Extension machinery and equipment. That must be for the building.
Yeah, you're looking at the building one, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's still
For that one.
611. So can
What are you looking at?
line
434.
434? What's
I don't have that on here.
maybe it's somewhere.
Yeah, it's one for 207,000.
Yeah.
620.
Oh, no, that's our total. Sorry, that's
Oh,
supposed to be
that's
down
it.
at the
Oh,
total.
that's the total.
That's a total. That's a total. Just written on the wrong line.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
okay. But
You know,
the-
we
but
don't
the-
use-
okay, so
we-
that's- So it makes it, so it's-
Sorry.
we need it- yeah, we do. So we just need to fix
You'd
that.
like to.
Yeah.
So the
I don't know
total
where
is,
to use that number, but
so the total is really
yes.
207,
Yes,
69.
that should be written on
Okay,
the line below.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
there we go. All right. Okay,
Looks like
Okay.
everything's in line.
Instead of the 415?
Yeah, I gotta go in.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
put the
Okay.
Whoopsie.
so put the 207 where the 415 is.
Oh, that looks like a big increase,
Yeah.
doesn't
I was
it?
gonna say,
Yeah,
well, it makes sense. Okay,
Fix it.
okay.
sorry.
No, it's not, yeah. It's fine.
All right,
That's why we go through it. So,
thank you.
Okay, any questions?
yeah, thanks, Becky.
Nope. Okay,
Good rundown.
Thank you.
thank you. Happy
Thank you.
anniversary.
Thank
Heard it
you.
on the radio this morning.
Yeah, 31 years today.
31.
Jeez.
Just getting started.
Yeah. And whippers.
Seems like yesterday.
Ready? Good morning.
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 Great.
Yeah.
I think I have a,
Yeah, you have your charts in here.
yeah, and my report should be fairly short today. Just to review the charts. Yeah, June was a little bit busier than May again, and we felt that a little bit. Things continue to go well. Luckily, our funeral assistance hasn't jumped up tremendously. That's kind of maintained like that. Most of our hours are being spent on case management, which is where we want to see, where I want to see my staff spending their time so that we're not just handing money out to people, but really getting them ahead in life and getting them where they need to be.
Question out of curiosity. So the
Yeah.
mental health hold cost, can you just so people understand, like, how does that?
Yeah.
work? I mean, what's the expense? What's the nature of the expense for that?
So that is for anybody that is on a mental health commitment. They bill their insurance first, but that never comes out of the client's pocket. That
Right.
county always is responsible for that. So that mental health hold actually is a separate budget from my line item, but the welfare office processes those.
Okay, all
So,
right.
yeah.
Okay, good explanation.
Yep. Any other questions on any of that? We've had utilizing transit a lot lately, so a lot more. We were just talking about that yesterday.
It's a good service, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually found out that through our community health workers, through the grant that they have through the state for community health workers, they have a separate fund that we can utilize just the clients that are in our impact program, our community health worker program. They have a separate pot of funding that we can use. So it's kind of nice that transit has a grant for the county to be able to use, and we try to save that for people that maybe need to get to jobs until they get a paycheck or other appointments or have other essential needs. Community health worker can be a little bit more flexible and help people maybe go get groceries or things like that using their funds. So
So
it's
that's
just another
administered
pot of.
Through Watertown Transit, you just work.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but that's it's actually the helpline center is running that
Okay.
account through the Watertown Community Transit or
Okay.
the area. Community
And I
Transit.
believe, Sarah, through transit still, if they're medical appointments, they're free of charge, correct?
That is correct. Yep. Yeah. So luckily, we're really fortunate. We almost at first were like, oh, I don't know if we need that community health worker because we're so fortunate to be able to have free medical appointments. But we realize that we can help people out in other ways too with that. So yeah, so that's that. With the CARES, from Carrie's work, we were reimbursed $4,000 again for administrative fees for her July work. And ICAP, she's averaging around 10 hours a week, and I'm continuing to evaluate that and look at how that's working for our office. The impact and CHW program, we did, thank you for approving that last week. We were able to get it submitted and we've actually already been approved to start being reimbursed. And so Paige and Carrie are working on, Paige is putting together the paperwork and Carrie's sorting out the billing, and we're going to start submitting for reimbursement. So that will be reimbursed for Paige's time.
Good.
Yeah, so that's exciting. That was approved already. And also we're updating the impact information just to not be as legal involvement based. We're expanding that more to be general community needs based. When we first started that program, we had really wanted to look at people involved with the legal system, but we've realized there's a lot of people that are falling through the cracks that aren't necessarily involved with the legal system. So we're just kind of adjusting some of that wording with that. Again, people that will be reimbursable through Medicaid.
It'd be kind of interesting with all the thinking, and just we think a lot about the criminal justice system and the impact on that. I guess how many, if as you start doing that, is there a way to separate the data? You probably knew I was going to ask that, but right. But like those that are in the criminal justice system that you were trying to help, and those that aren't.
The three of us just met yesterday to talk about that, and we're going to continue tracking what legal involvement they have.
Okay.
And so I think, yeah, I agree. I think that would be interesting.
Because what just so people know what's going on is you start looking at especially jail data, you start seeing the same names over and over again. And there's it's kind of like almost a group of people. I mean, I know it sounds a bit callous, but kind of the frequent users of the system, of the criminal justice system. And so that's kind of some of the ideas, like, well, what's going on there? Can we do something to fix it so that we can reduce the burden on the whole system?
Right.
So
yeah, they definitely get stuck in the system there, and then it's just a repeat offender. So yeah, we would love to be able to catch them a bit more as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In our office itself, for an update on Watertown Cares, as a board member where we're at, the renovations have started. They're nearing completion. I just was over there yesterday. Several of the rooms are almost done. They're updating some of the plumbing. They had to replace the countertops, and so they're just updating plumbing. But then once that's done, 7 of the rooms should be basically ready to go, but we have to get approval for South Dakota Housing Authority before those rooms can be utilized. And so Will, the executive director there, is talking to South Dakota Housing Authority about getting that approval for that. And so that's moving forward, and hopefully within the next few weeks, we'll actually be able to start housing people there with that. I did attend the ACES training on June 22nd and then went to the South Dakota Housing Conference on June 25th and 26th. They were both really great, kind of re-energizers and more ideas of what we can do in the community too. Some good ideas for housing, especially here, and how to move forward to address the housing needs that we have. in Watertown. And just to let you know, I'll be on vacation July 21st through the 28th. We're doing a big family vacation for that. So I'll be out of the office, and Carrie and Paige will be managing, and Hunter will be there as well. So as far as the systems of care and strategic planning, the interagency meeting, we are decided not to meet in June and July since summer schedules are so busy. Our agency of the month for this month is the Department of Social Services. They had to get approval through the state, but they have gotten approval now. And so that's our agency of the month, highlighting both Medicaid expansion and then also some of the services that they're providing. They actually have a really great program through Lake Area Tech, where if people qualify for SNAP benefits, they can also qualify for free tuition through Lake Area. And so those are both DSS programs that we wanted to highlight and mention this month. So, yeah.
I love the window display too.
Thank you. Thank you. Carrie has done a phenomenal job getting our windows up and going. So yeah, thank you for that. And we've got the signs on the windows now so people can actually see that that's where we're at. So that's good. And then the Housing Action Team meeting, we had a meeting on June 19th with representatives from Rapid City. I think it was a good informative meeting, and that group then decided that we would like to make a visit to Rapid City to look at their programming and what they're doing. And so we're looking at possibly a visit to Rapid City with a group of 10 or so people in looking at September for that, to be able to get ideas on how we can move forward. And I'm continuing to work on some funding opportunities to raise awareness for Codington Connects, and so that people are better utilizing that, as well as to highlight the agency of the month and that kind of thing. So I may be back for requests for grants on that. So that's all of that. Any questions on the report?
Thank you.
Good,
Yep.
good rundown.
Okay. All right. Budget wise, then like everyone else, my biggest increase is with the salary.
Where do you want us, where do you start?
Oh, sorry, Care
Okay.
of Core. Yeah.
What color is that?
Mine's orange.
Oh,
Might be whatever, huh?
Mm.
Oh,
It's gonna be right after the corner.
411.
right after the corner, huh? That's kind of a,
If you look up in the corner, 411 in the upper.
It's a, yeah, that.
yeah, but I should be able to find it here.
Okay.
Oh, after the corner, here it is. That's
Got
a
it.
pretty dead topic there.
Thanks, Mr. Johnson.
All right.
All right. Okay, so again, the biggest increase is our salaries. A reminder, we do have the offset from both the CARES ERA averaging about $4,000 a month that we're bringing in through Carrie's work with that. And then being able to reimburse through Medicaid as well will both offset a lot of that. Those funds aren't reflected in my actual budget, but I just wanted to point out that they do come in as a result of the staffing. The biggest changes then on the other pieces, the care professional services, I did increase that. I would really like to be able to look at some more community events and opportunities. And so I just wanted to leave some flexibility in that if we wanted to bring in a speaker or something, that the county would have some funding to be able to assist with that under the Codington Connects pieces.
That's a 422.
Yep, 422.
Okay.
So that in that amount, it also includes our current ICAP contract, and then community support, which is the work
Right.
that Angela's been doing, and then some miscellaneous professional services. So that includes connecting point consulting and then possibly presenters. So that's the reason for the increase in there. I did try to then bring some of the other numbers more in line of what we're actually spending and what I actually anticipate we're spending. You can see there's a pretty significant drop in inpatient hospitalization, 422.3. And that's largely due to Medicaid expansion. With Medicaid expanding, that should really address most of the needs that we have for people not needing medical assistance. Most people at this point, now that Medicaid expanded, they should either qualify for Medicaid expansion or the Affordable Care Act. If they don't have insurance. And so it should really reduce the number of people that would be eligible for medical assistance through the county. And then I also decreased the amount of care for rent with the anticipation that Watertown Cares would be able to offset that. And again, I know they're gonna come to the county for assistance as well. And so I offset that in my budget. I decreased that by $10,000 there. Yeah. And then I just wanted to point out 427.00 and 427.20, we ended up swapping those numbers. What we're finding out is that because of how the auditor's office has to pull those funds, they've been pulling our office travel out of the poor travel, and that's really intended to be client travel. So that's just really a bookkeeping thing. Switching 427.20 will be our office travel, and 427 backwards, flip that around. 427.00 will be office travel, 427.20 will be client travel.
Okay.
That's that switch.
Okay.
Yep. And then adding a little bit to our utilities, that's just the cost that is increased. And then again, I decreased the health insurance premium because that should also again be offset by Medicaid expansion.
So what's the difference between 428 and 428.10? You may not, I mean, that's a,
It's the same. So Care Poor Utilities would be client.
okay,
Assistance.
okay, got
Uh-huh.
it, okay.
Yeah,
Money going out.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, okay,
yeah. And 428.1 is
Yeah.
just our function.
got it, okay.
Yeah.
So I see the pattern. now.
Yeah.
Okay, you explained that. And then on the total is just a little confusing, it's like.
It is because we have that ERA funds in there. So there's 97,586 that are in the 2023. That's funding that we get through the state to cover the ERA funds because we're that pass through. And so we have,
That's the COVID stuff.
yes,
okay.
yeah, that's the COVID funding for the CARES that Carrie administers. And so you can subtract that out of the budget. And so,
Right.
yeah, that
Okay.
adjusts the numbers.
Okay. Any
That's-
questions for Sarah on her budget? It's good,
Okay.
good rundown.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Here we have our treasurer.
Yep. That worked perfect. She's gonna come back and we're gonna get that all resolved.
It was a rough auction. But we
She was
got her
the only
done.
one here, I guess.
There
That's good.
was a lot of tension in the air.
Who's gonna jump up?
Yeah.
So here we go. Time for our annual budget review.
Okay.
You are the treasurer. Okay. 142.0.
Okay, what I did is I submitted, the biggest change is gonna be in the top half of this budget. The wage section, and I submitted, my figures are based on a 6% cost of living. That's the number that was floating around at the time I did it. So that's basically, that's all driven from the top number down, and then the changes for the insurance. On the bottom part for the current expenditures, I tried to stay pretty much the same where I was at. What I did do is make some changes based on experience. Things were popping up as far as on the travel and conference. I adjusted that to be closer to what the actual costs were when we go to peer for the spring workshop convention, and then if they have training for new officials, I try to send a couple of deputies to that too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this last year, that didn't work out. They scheduled it in April. Well, no treasurer's office is gonna be sending anybody to peer in April. So there's that. The other one that shows a change is on my utilities, and that's just because with the new phone lines with Verizon, the fees are different. So, and that's essentially sort of what's going on. Yeah, tax deed servicing, that's just because I have to sometimes have people served out of state, and that's sort of probably a little too conservative, but if I don't spend, that's in 429.
Okay, yeah.
If I don't spend money there, I can make it available someplace else.
Okay.
All right,
So the total is
Grand total is going to be 553,209.
Questions for Carol?
Yeah, personnel.
Okay, that's a good explanation.
All right.
Just miss.
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask Carol a question since she's here?
Absolutely.
Carol, anything on the horizon for licensing and anything that the state's making you aware of as far as changes with
Well,
anything to anticipate coming up next year?
well, here's the story. They're looking at replacing the underlying software that everything is on. They've got bids. They were hoping to have bids. I think it's like the end of August because they put out the request for proposal. I don't know how quickly they're gonna buy. It's not gonna be something that they program themselves. They tried that. That didn't go well.
Yeah.
So they're gonna buy from an existing company. There will be some changes because we're gonna adapt to what their software does. But
Wasn't that being talked about last year or the year before?
yes.
Some of those changes? Okay.
Yep. See, and that's
that's why I was
why there was a delay in rolling the new plates out is because they were was it last year or the year before? Last year, they were thinking they're gonna go live with the new system, it's gonna work. Well, some of the basic fundamental things that we use every day weren't working. And they'd had a lot of turnover with programmers at BIT. And when that happened,
Yeah.
Slowed things down.
right.
Okay.
More people don't always solve a problem because you got to bring everybody along. So they just decided to quit throwing good money after bad and they're going to go to the people that do it for a living.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
So, and what would this do? This would the whole running of the whole license plate issuing.
Streamlining.
Right. All the software that we use, they're going to produce, which will be if you show up on a Monday or Friday or towards the end of the month, our computers are so snail-like, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's just my blood pressure goes up while I sit there, but so hopefully when we get a new system, that problem will go away, but not to be too negative, but that's the hope. And then we're just gonna finish the replacing the non-commercial car and truck plates and the motorcycle plates this series. And then the assumption is that they would replace the commercials and the trailers next year because they alternated, so you're not doing all brand new. But if they're gonna push a computer upgrade in there, my thinking is maybe next year they're gonna hold off just because. But
It's too much. Yeah.
yeah, other than that, we're just working on more
that-
tax deeds for you.
Is our hardware that we have, is it compatible with a?
I think so. Right now, because that's always a concern. The way I understand it, they would be fast enough for right now. When we rolled out machines in 2008, everybody sort of points fingers at everybody else. No, our system is perfect. It's, you don't have the right computers or you don't have the right network so anyway, I think our computers are probably going to be okay. We might have to roll out some just because ours are starting to get older.
Yeah.
And like I said, the money in my budget, it's going to go where I need it to go. It's just, this is my plan and this is reality. And if it's between somebody going on a trip or us having to buy a computer, we're going to buy the new computer.
That's kind of where I was going with my question about changes over there as far as technology,
Yeah.
with the anticipated changes at the state level, if there was anything else that we needed to plan for.
Yeah.
Going into next year.
I'm hoping not, but
Yeah.
if we
Okay.
do, we'll see.
We
where I'm
do,
at.
right? There's nothing we can do about it, but do it.
Right. You provide the service.
I just was, the question that I had, there's nothing in the budget here for expansion in hardware. Very little, right?
Right. Just changes within, but see, there's a line on there for IT, DMV, like 4,000 or something for. A second.
that treasurer's motor vehicle supplies figure of $4,500.
Mhm.
I'm going up to 5,500.
Yeah.
That's essentially where I would get my new computers out of that.
Okay,
And that number is always in there because
Yeah.
it's specifically funded through the licensing fees to take care of the upgrade for our equipment.
Mhm.
So that's essentially where my money would go for my new computer
but
unit,
that'd go pretty quick.
right? But if
Yep.
you do so many this year and you do so many
Yep.
next year, and
Mhm.
if you do it a bit at a time, you're,
I mean, I mean, pretty much a standard computer update is gonna, I mean, as software updates, I mean, it's kind of comes with the territory. you
Right.
know, over-
What is the rotation for the computers in your office? How often are they rotated out? Do you know?
it's a good-
Well,
that's a
We
good-
should have
when
like,
Ashley gets done with them and they start smoking, then that one gets replaced. And then we try to keep her away
Okay.
from the other units.
Well, Connecting Flame tries to keep us on top of that, you know,
Right.
our IT service, you know, they try to keep us on top of that. But yeah, something, you know. proves to
before
smoke
they
is
start
something.
smoking, we should
Yeah.
replace them.
Let's surprise them and replace them before they smoke.
Hey, there we go. Okay, thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Carol.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get Andrew taken care of, so he can get them fixed down.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Burn
thank you.
ban.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, let's go jump down to 12 and 13 and come on down, Andrew. Been waiting patiently.
Thank you for waiting.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely. I knew
number
it was
12
gonna be
is
today.
It was educational, right?
yeah, number 12 is action to declare a Codington County Search and Rescue 2008 F-350 pickup surplus to be traded in.
Yes, so this pickup was. I mean, back in 2008, there was a Homeland Security grant that facilitated the purchase of that vehicle. It's registered to Codington County Search and Rescue, and the board requested and voted on getting that vehicle updated earlier this year. And it's going, I guess the remaining balance is going to be paid for with search and rescue support funds.
Okay,
Is it going to a local dealer here in town?
Yep.
okay.
I'll make a motion to
So
declare.
motion by Van Duzen, second by Waterman. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. And then number
13.
13 on the burn ban. Any advice?
I don't think it's necessary at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
good. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I think.
All right.
Mentioned that.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Okay, so back to monthly reports.
Okay,
Madam Auditor.
so, yeah, just been busy working on budget worksheets. Director of Equalization brought the growth factors over and I inputted those numbers into the system and have been working on that. Also been working on next year's 2024 anticipated revenue and expenditures. So going through that process. Secretary of State has had a couple webinars. There's one again today, cleaning up voter registrations on off election years. So working on that process as well. Just business as usual. It's going good.
Did you want to go ahead and take number 11?
Yeah, and I guess I can do my,
You want to do the
Budget
we can do the
too.
Budget,
yeah, I can do my budget.
okay,
Not as well, since we're kind of on a roll.
all right.
So yeah, same with mine. I anticipated, I did a 3% for next year in salary increase, but the biggest increase in mine was due to the fact of last year's 5.5.
Mhm.
So that increase is what really increased mine as far as overall. But as you can see, I tried to hold it. I increased some of the line items slightly. But otherwise, that's where the
Yeah.
biggest share of my increase was, is in the wages and salary.
So 425 is, I just see one, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
all right,
from 357 to 409.
429 and on two.
Yeah. And I have the explanation. I got a breakdown of it last page. That you can go through it line by line. Where that was the
Yeah, any
amounts came from. And then also the elections, We did not have an election this year, obviously, so there wasn't any, I thought it was right behind this one, but anyway, so there is, yeah. There is an increase, obviously, next year, because it will be an election year, and they do want, we don't know what Secretary of State or what will happen now with the new legislation of doing a post-election audit, what that's gonna entail, so I did do an increase.
So that's a new law.
Yeah, that's a new
What
law.
does that basically, what does it basically say?
Well, there will have to be a post-election audit, which we're not really sure how that will look. I mean,
Okay.
it will be a state level candidate, I believe, is how it was
Okay.
mentioned. So we'll learn more about that as well. We actually, there is a schooling they'll be doing this fall that we'll be going out to peer for. So definitely we'll be learning more about that.
So the two key lines are 426 and
Yep.
429,
Yeah.
anticipating an election next year.
Yes, so it's anybody's guess at this point what that will be.
Okay. Any questions for the auditor? For the budget, the two budget areas.
All right, then we can move on to auditor's account with the treasurer. So you see what the total amount was at the end of the day, or at the end of the month, I should say, with the treasurer, cash on hand, different accounts, general, the restricted, and then the schools, townships, cities and towns. Total amount at the end, 35,612,674.21, and then they have it broken down on that monthly settlement with the treasurer a little bit further. And then just to note, the monthly register of deeds fees that was collected was $40,058.40.
We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So motion by Van Duzen,
I'll second that.
second by Schwer. Any other questions or discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. We got through a lot of budget stuff, and that brings us down to number 14. So discussion and possible action to authorize the chair to sign a contract with a successful sealed bidder of haying rights. So this follows the auction that we had for the haying rights on that piece of property west of town owned by the county.
Right. So it's approximately 9.48 acres. The successful bid was $35 per acre. So it's $331.80 annually. That needs to be paid before July 15th. I just didn't realize that you need a separate motion for the lease. So I wanted to make sure we had a separate motion just for the lease. We did approve the bid, but just to be safe, I wanted to make sure we had that.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second that.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let's say no. Okay, that motion carries. Okay, action to approve abatement applications.
There
number
are
15.
no abatements. We do have some claims, though. There was, I sent out the packet or sent an email to you yesterday on the claims.
We're on, so that brings us down to 16. By
Yep.
the way, so that just.
Yep, 16, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't go through and highlight anything in particular unless somebody has any questions. I will let you know, though. Of the total amount of claims, $796,871.78 is pass-through money to the state. So the actual county amount is $503,658.01. So.
So and then so we're covering up just for privacy,
Yes.
some of the names, some of the blank spots of their juror names mostly.
That grand jury and other very sensitive sorts of things that are not supposed to,
Yeah.
I can't,
Just-
for privacy reasons.
So if you're wondering what those white spots are, that's what that's about.
Yep.
You can still see the amounts.
I'll make a
Yes.
motion to
So
approve.
motion by Van Duzen,
Second.
second by Waterman. Any questions, discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let's say no. That motion carries. Number 6 or 17 is action to approve automatic budget supplements.
We do have one of those. And this is money that we received back for the emergency management. Will go into the emergency management budget, $5,600. It's for their two-way solutions for programming and installing 14 radios. So it's money that we received back that will go into their budget.
So move.
Motion by
second
Johnson,
it.
second by Schwer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, the motion carries. That gets us down to
Yes.
personnel changes.
And we have a whole bunch of those again. And I think this should just
So
about
that
be
we're going through all
everyone.
the stepping, basically, the reason we have so many recently is to go through all the step increases for July.
Yep. So I'll just basically read the names in the department. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Shauna Constant, Director of Equalization. Ann Rasmussen, Register of Deeds. Jan Steele, Victims Witness. Dave Curtis, Sheriff's Office. Stephen Lowry, Sheriff's Office. Dakota Dodd, Sheriff's Office. Travis Gutzmeyer, Sheriff's Office. Tristan Coyle, Jail. Steve Mulligrath, Government Buildings. Brian Bleeker, Government Buildings. Richard Payne, Government Building. Justin Halligan, Detention Center. Steve Stalkey, Detention Center. James Henges, Ag Building. Scott Swanson, Ag Building. Ron Hartley, Weed Department. Rebecca Reese, State's Attorney. Jamie Monson, State's Attorney. Katie Moe, State's Attorney. Danielle Ring, State's Attorney. Taylor Hagman, State's Attorney. Grant Wanders, State's Attorney. And we got, what was their travel? Let me see here. I got them all.
Well, this one.
Yep. Lindy Waba, Treasurer's Office. Cecilia Johnson, Treasurer's Office. Carol Maloney, Treasurer's Office. Ashley Lintner, Treasurer's Office. Christy Torstensen, Treasurer's Office. Janet Beavers, Treasurer's Office. Becky Goins, Extension. Kim Johnson, Extension. And I think that's it. All right.
Now, these are all effective July 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is basically taking people from the current step to the next step, which is the policy to do that in July.
In July, yep.
So move.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries.
Is that all of the county employees now?
That should be all of them, I believe. Yep. I think we've got them all.
So travel requests.
Okay, we have 3 of those. So 2 individuals from the Veteran Service Office are going to the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs Certification and Benefits School. And you have all the information there and the dates and what the costs are. And then we have an individual from the emergency management going to a board meeting. And you have all the other
So move.
critical
Motion
information.
by Johnson.
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. And just going to public notices, possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at. Anybody got anything for the calendar? Let folks know about.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a pity. So I had a good 4th night. All right, how about any old business?
Well, I might mention cooking on Compescas this weekend. Maybe there might be a
Oh, yeah.
quorum of you there.
Good place to stay away from.
That's kind of, it's festive.
What did he say? I'm not gonna ask. Not gonna ask.
Okay, all right, back to 21, old business. Any new business? Anything for the open? Any public comments, commissioner comments?
I did attend the SNP meeting and we probably should have explained it a little bit more. It's we meet with the DOT through First District and they just kind of review what the plans are for DOT, Department of Transportation, as far as road improvement over the next year. And if any of you want to see what report that we received, I do have one. I forgot to bring it. It's in the other vehicle, but I have it if you want to look at it. See if your favorite road is going to be repaired.
It should, I think it's also posted on the DOT. I believe it's posted on the DOT.
Yeah, it
website
is.
as well. So yeah, it gives you.
It should be online, yeah.
Yeah, it was also, it shows how our county roads fit into the priority, statewide. It's kind of, that's kind of,
And they're, I think, strapped with the same situation as our county and everybody else. That just costs a ton of money to repair roads or replace roads now. It's just terrible.
Myron, were they still talking about charging stations,
About what?
charging stations on the interstates?
Yes, that's coming. They're talking about every 50 miles. Establishing a charging station. And that's not gonna happen in 1 year. It's gonna be over a period of time. But that's what they're foreseeing to happen anyway. Every 50 miles is what they're estimating. So,
They took it all away, all the rest areas. And now
That's
they're
just
gonna
what I
put
was
it in.
thinking, yeah.
yeah,
Close
that's the way the rest
areas,
areas now that have charging stations, yeah.
well, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Myron. Okay, do we have any need for any other commissioner comments? Okay, any need for an executive session?
Yeah, that's what personnel.
So we have a need for executive session for number one, personnel, discussion of personnel issues.
Move to adjourn to special or
Motion.
executive session.
Motion to go into executive session. Wait a second. Okay, the chair will second.
I'll
I'll
okay,
second
good.
it.
Just waiting. for
Okay, well,
someone else.
let's take, well, you said first, I'll take Van Duzen.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Okay, so,
Okay.
motion by Johnson, second by Van Duzen. All in favor going into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll say no. Okay, no action afterwards. So. Thanks, Jim.
Only if you saw this.